Welcome everyone to another episode of Slasher Scotty. I am your host, Scotty McCoy, and boy, do I have a surprise for all of you. I have on Zoom with me right now Jason Brooks, and he played Jason Voorhees in both Vengeance 2 Bloodlines and Rose Blood, a Friday the 13th fan film, and I'm assuming also the first Vengeance too, right?
Yep.
Absolutely. So how you doing, Jason?
I'm doing good. How are you?
I'm doing good. I'm glad that we can make this happen. So the first question I got for you is, how did you get your start into acting?
Oh, and acting, acting wasn't intentional for me. I started more behind the scenes. I grew up really liking the idea of behind the scenes, getting special effects magazines and watching behind the scenes videos and um, always trying to see the stuff that happened behind the scenes. I was really interested in props and effects and costumes. And then as I started helping with films, when I got older, I just started becoming like background extras, and then it kind of built up. And then a filmmaker I was working with, Todd Redinas from TBR Video, he had a couple of roles. He's like, "Hey, would you like to be the monster?" I was like, "Yes, I'd love to,
Nice.
put on costumes and be the monster." So
Right.
I started doing that, and from there, it just kind of started snowballing. And as I kept working on projects, acting became one of the options for me, and then it just kind of really started taking off once Vengeance came along.
Awesome, awesome. So how did you happen to start your journey on becoming Jason Voorhees actor and stuntman for multiple films?
So I liked Jason, and for one year on Halloween, I decided to make a Jason costume, and so I did. I made my own Jason costume, and I did that. I was seen. I wore it to a convention as well, a comic convention, and there was a haunted house that saw me there. They reached out to me a few months later and said, "Hey, we really loved the look you had, and would you come out? There's a Friday the 13th this October. Would you come out and hang out with us at the haunted house?" And I was like, "That sounds like a great time." So I did, and then I started doing acting at the haunted house in the queue line. Um, from that point, a lot of people came up and like, "Oh my God, you look so great. You should actually be in the movies. You should go down to Hollywood." And it's like, yeah, I would love that, but where's that opportunity? It doesn't come to you. So,
Right.
and there was no Friday the 13th being made, the lawsuit going on, and then I heard about Friday the 13th Mythos being filmed by Jeremy Brown out in Idaho in Brown Space Films. So I reached out to them and auditioned for it and got the
Nice,
part, and then
nice,
it kind of
nice,
snowballed from there.
nice. And we know Jason is tall, so I'm assuming you're tall.
I'm 6'5".
Nice, nice.
Yep.
That's awesome. So for those unaware, I'm not sure if Vengeance 2 Bloodlines is out yet. I know Rose Blood, a Friday the 13th fan film, is either out or is going to be coming out this month. So
Yep.
can you tell us what these two movies are about and where they can be seen and when?
Yeah, absolutely. So starting with Vengeance, that one is out. That's on YouTube. You can look up F13 Vengeance on YouTube. Go find that. That one came out in 2019.
Okay.
And then for Vengeance 2 Bloodlines, the sequel to Vengeance, that one's going to come out around the April-May timeframe. Right now we're looking at May to get that all edited, wrapped up and everything. And Vengeance, that one is a sequel to Part 6, direct sequel to Part 6, basically ignoring 7, 8, 9, X, and Freddy versus Jason. It just picks up with the Tommy Jarvis storyline,
Nice.
kind of where they left off, but 30 years later. And we follow Tommy Jarvis's daughters. Tommy Jarvis has gone missing. They go out to go into Crystal Lake to go find him, and they try to see where he went. And so that's Vengeance. Vengeance 2 kind of carries that story forward a little more. And then we get some answers to Vengeance 1. In Roseblood, that one is completely separate from Vengeance. That one directed and written by Peter Anthony and Peter Anthony Productions. And that one is a direct sequel to Part 7. And so that Part 7, fan favorite, Kane Hodder's entrance as Jason. So I get to be the Kane Hodder version of Jason in this. And that one is also another 30 years later, after the events of Part 7. And it brings back Laura Park Lincoln as Tina, Terry Kaiser as Dr. Cruz, Kevin Spiritus as Nick. So it is a direct sequel to that one. And what has happened to Tina? Where has she been since Part 7? What happened after she left the scene, in Part 7? So it picks that up. And that one comes out at the end of the month here in November. The weekend after Thanksgiving is the premiere out in Connecticut. So there's still tickets available, a couple left. So if anyone wants to go check it out.
Awesome. Yeah, I had Laura Park Lincoln on my show. Was it a couple weeks ago or so? And we were promoting. Obviously, we're talking about Friday 7, and we promoted Rose Blood as well. And she's a very nice lady. I had Terry
Wonderful.
Kaiser on, but I had Terry Kaiser on before Rose Blood was even thought of, probably, or even started filming. Had him on about 2 or 3 years ago. And
Nice.
I would love to have him back on even to talk about it. That's one thing I'm really curious about. How does Dr. Cruz come back? He's dead. So that's what I'm really curious about.
You'll have to wait and see.
So I can't wait to see this and see how he comes back. Is he a vision? Is he really alive? I don't know. I'm about to find out, and I can't wait. So that's definitely one of my big questions that I have. So is there a difference in the way you portray Jason Voorhees between both Vengeance and Vengeance 2 as well as Rose Blood? Like, how do you differentiate yourself between the two Vengeances and Rose Blood?
Yeah, good question. There's definitely a difference. And let's start with Rose Blood. In Rose Blood, that is, a sequel to Part 7, where we have Kane Hodder. And if you're a fan of Part 7 and you want to see a sequel to Part 7, you want to see Kane Hodder's version of Jason. Yeah. Fans of Kane Hodder are big fans, and they will tear you apart if you don't do it right. So we spend a lot of time and effort to make sure that the motion, the movements, and everything were Kane Hodder style, and we get that vibe. So we did quite a bit there. Peter Anthony, a big Kane Hodder fan, and also a big Part 7 fan. So as he was directing, he was making sure that as we were doing it, if I fell back into my Vengeance Jason style or anything like that, he's like, no. Got to do Kane on this one, do this. So he was really good in helping me make sure that I was performing correctly. And I did quite a bit of research. I watched all of his films again, just to kind of watch his mannerisms and his interviews again to make sure that I was trying to get in his mind. For Vengeance, that one, going back in time, as soon as I got the part, I started doing my own research. I watched all the movies again. I watched like 36 hours worth of interviews behind the scenes with these actors, because I didn't want to just mimic their movements. I wanted to get in their head, and I wanted to see, like, what were they thinking? What's their mindset when they're playing Jason? So that way, because I'm not going to mimic every movement they do. I'm going to have different scenes, different kills. And so I kind of want to be like, well, if they were, as an actor, put up in front, the camera with this kill, how would they do it? What's their mindset with this? So that I could do something similar. And so I was doing that, and I was really trying to figure out what to do. So when I went and met CJ at his home before filming, I asked him, same thing, like, tips, tricks, what do you do? And he gave me the tips about walking. Every footstep has power, and you lead with your chest. And he didn't breathe. He held his breath because he was dead Jason. And then talking with Steve Dash, we went to his house and we did some filming, and he played Jason Part 2. And Steve's response was, you just fucking walk. You just walk. You put on a mask and go. Like, right. He, because being the first Jason, it was funny because he would rib me a little bit about that, and about it's easy. You just put on and walk and go. But we were at dinner on one of the last nights of filming, and I was like, Steve, it's easy for you to say that because you were the first adult Jason. I said, every other person has to be Jason after you've already established what that is. So whatever you did, is going to carry on. And he was like, you know what? If all these years I've been doing this and having this thing, and I've been telling that story about you just put on the mask and walk. Yeah. That's the first time I've been challenged on it. What, he's like, how come? That makes so much sense. You're right. It's like there are other people who come after, and he was the first. So, but at the end of the day, we went back to his house, and he called me over on the couch. He's like, hey, come here, I want to talk to you a second. Can I give you some advice? And I was like, yeah, please, of course. And he said, I know you've watched all these videos. I know you've researched all of this. You talked to all this. You're trying to figure out what to do. Can I give you one piece of advice on that? I was like, absolutely. And he's like, throw that shit out the window. Just be yourself. He says, don't be me. Don't be CJ. Don't be Kane. Don't be Ted White. Don't be Richard. Don't just be you. You be the first Jason Brooks, Jason Voorhees. And don't care what we did. He said, do you think that Richard Brooker, Ted White, or any of them looked to me, my performance, to see what I did? You think CJ looked at them to do his? Did you think Kane cared about anyone before him? No, they all did their own version, and that's what makes them all lovable. That's what makes them fan favorites, is everyone has their favorite Jason for a different reason. Just be yourself. And so for the first time, I was like, wow, that's huge.
Mhm.
And so I did. So every time I got on set, anytime I was wondering, like, what should I do here? What should I do? How should I do this? I really kind of took Steve's words, and so Steve was with me the entire time of filming, in a sense, because
Nice.
and CJ as well. And I just really did that, and I let go and just be my version of Jason. And in the end, through all the interviews and all the people I've met and everything, where people have talked about me being Jason or what their opinion is of my performance, um, everything that I've encountered has been positive, and they've said, you know what, you seem to be this amalgamation of all of them. You have like my favorite parts of all the different Jasons, and you move this way like Kane, you move this way like CJ, you have this stature like Ted White, and you do this like Richard Brooker, and
Yeah.
so all these things came through, and it was really it's really flattering.
Yeah.
And I feel really blessed that I was able to pull that off by just
That's
letting
awesome.
go and listening to Steve.
That's awesome. That's awesome. And I apologize if I'm yawning. I have these 4:30 a.m. wake up calls.
Oh no, you're good. You're good.
And it's almost 9 o'clock here, so it's basically close to my bedtime. So I just want to let you know I'm not bored or anything.
No, it's all good.
So what is the hardest part about portraying such an iconic character?
I mean, there's a couple things. I mean,
Okay.
outside of the suit being uncomfortable, and if it's 115 degrees outside and you're wearing all these layers of latex and silicone and all that, or it's 18 degrees outside and you're underwater and it's freezing. Just really the idea of, I remember the first day on set playing Jason, I was talking to Jeremy Brown, the director of Vengeance,
Yeah.
and I had the realization, like, wow, this whole thing rides on my shoulders. Like
Yeah.
any other actor in the entire film can screw up. They can
Yeah.
act poorly, they can be bad. But if I'm bad, the whole thing is gone. You
Yeah.
know, it's if Jason is bad, the whole film is terrible. And every other actor can be the most amazing Oscar award-winning actor, but if they hate the Jason, they hate the movie.
Yeah.
So it's like there's a lot of pressure there to do it right. And there's going to be people who, and as I've gone on, there's people who love you, there's people who hate you for no reason. They love you because you're Jason, they hate you because you're Jason. They don't know me. They don't, some people never saw the film and they hate me for that. And some people never saw it and love me for that. So there's a lot there that you have to kind of reconcile. And it's very interesting.
Yeah, and look at, like, for example, Jason Goes to Hell. A lot of people hate that just because Jason isn't really in it that much.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So Jason, like, if you think about it, there's always a final girl. There's sometimes a final boy or final guy, but they don't care about them as much as they do Jason. It's sad.
Yeah.
It's not sad, but it's like, it's funny because Jason is this person you're supposed to hate because he's killing all these people, whether they're innocent people like Mrs. Shepherd or or like Mrs. Jarvis. He's killing these characters that you're supposed to love. He's also killing these characters that are breaking the rules, so to speak. But he's also the one that is loved the most. You don't go to the movies to see, a Tina Shepherd or a Dr. Cruz or, a Trish Jarvis or a Tommy Jarvis. You go to see a Friday the 13th movie to see, okay, Jason's in this. How is he going to creatively kill these teenagers?
Exactly. And I mean, all these characters like Dr. Cruz and Tina and everyone you mentioned, it would be nothing without them.
Yeah.
It's like if you don't have these lovable characters to die or to
Yep.
be in danger or for you to care for them,
Yep.
there'd be no movie. And Jason would just be walking around the woods and be very boring, So
Yeah.
but it's very interesting that this person who's doing these horrendous things,
Right.
you love to hate or you
Yep.
just love, and
Yep.
you root for him almost in a way.
Absolutely.
So, but it's like if that one character is bad, if Jason is not good, then you don't really care about the rest.
Mhm. Yeah, and I remember the very first Friday the 13th I've ever saw was Part 7. It was the very first horror movie I've ever saw. I was like 6 years old. I was very young when I saw it, and I remember Laura Park Lincoln actually yelled at me for that. I would never let my kids watch my movie at that age. Yeah, so I remember that was the first movie I saw, and then I watched all of them from the beginning, and then I watched all the Halloweens and Nightmare on Elm Street, Screams, and all that stuff. And this is this was always going up to Jason Goes to Hell because I don't even think Jason X was out at the time. Because I was 6 years old. I think this was definitely in the mid 90s or so. I remember when I seen Part 7, I didn't watch it like again for a number of years. I would say like at least 10, 12 years after 6 years old. And I remember watching it when I was when maybe I'd say late teens, early 20s at least, maybe mid-teens, something like that. And I remember I didn't remember much of the movie. And I remember, and then when Mrs. Jarvis, played by Sue Blue, when she got killed, that death hit me harder than anything I've ever seen. I don't know why, but seeing her character get killed off was crazy. Like, I couldn't believe it. I was like, holy crap. Like, I was shocked. And that's what we're going back to saying about these characters that you love, and there wouldn't be a movie without them. Because without a Susan Blue playing an Amanda Shepherd and being shocked by that death, it brings that shock factor. And I like a twist like that, because you think she's going to survive with her daughter. You don't think
But then no
Nikki's
one's
gonna be a
safe.
survivor. So I thought that was exciting. That's exciting. And I had her on the show actually last week, and she had nothing but amazing things to say about it. And I mentioned to her about Rose Blood, and about it's kicking off after part 7, and Tina's in it and everything. Laura Park Lincoln's in it and everything. And she said she was going to check it out. So hopefully she does that, and I would love to see a reaction to that.
Nice.
Yeah. So which Jason Voorhees from the original 12, like not including any of the fan films or anything like that. So which, like original Jason Voorhees, which actor as Jason is your favorite, and which Jason character, like mannerisms, look, and everything, is your favorite?
Oh man, that's always hard,
Fun.
because being friends with several of these guys, it's
Yeah.
hard to pick. It's like picking
Yeah.
your favorite kid.
Yeah.
I really like the look of part 7. I like the exposed spine and things like that. That looks really brutal. I loved CJ in part 6.
Mhm.
I really loved the zombie Jason, coming back. That was scary to me. A lot of people like say that they thought the human Jason was more scary because the human could do that, but I always found that the zombie Jason was more scary to me, because you can't kill him and he's not mortal, and no matter what you do, he's going to come back. So you can't keep him down. And I really liked how CJ just kind of went through that, and he was just this powerful undead monster. So I think that those are my favorites if I have to narrow it down. But I liked a lot about 3 and 4 as well. So
Ted White is definitely my favorite. In terms of the way he portrays the character, because I always thought that Jason was really scary. Like look wise, I thought the sackhead Jason was always scary, because imagine a psychopath with a freaking potato sack on your head coming after you. Like, that's kind of freaky, but compared to a hockey mask. But I thought that Ted White really portrayed a great Jason. Just when it always puts a tingle in my spine when he's chasing Trish from one house to the other with the lightning striking in the background, and he's just running after her menacingly. Like, that just is freaking scary as hell.
Ted killed it.
Yeah, but I love Kane Hodder's look the best. Part 7, definitely. I really thought that was the best. And I don't know. That spine, like you said, is amazing. It really is. And I mean, looking back right behind you, I mean, you see that Jason right there, and I love it. It really is an absolute brilliant look. And John Carl Buechler did an amazing job.
Oh, so good.
Doing a good job with that movie. It's a shame that it really got chopped by the MPAA like it did.
Really, yeah.
So which Friday the 13th film is your favorite, and why?
I would go with 6.
Okay.
I've got some love for some of the other ones too. Like, they're not fan favorites. Like, I love Freddy vs. Jason because of my experience with it for the first time being in the theater. Jason X was a lot of fun. I saw that, and I saw both of those in like a media pre-release before it got out to the public, and so there was a lot of high energy and a lot of fun. The Freddy versus Jason, they handed out masks. You get to pick your Jason mask or your Freddy mask and which side you want, and everyone cheering in there. So it was really good energy, and so I have that is what sits with me on the movie, more so than the content and the story. But part 6, it was the first one I saw that made me love the franchise, and what I love about it is it's got the horror, it's got the scares, it's got the tension, and it's got humor. So that way you can come up and down. So you have a bigger roller coaster to ride rather than just something that's all scary.
I love how they did the humor, because it wasn't to a point that is cheesy and corny and just obvious. Like, it was done very sophisticatedly.
Yeah,
it was really done
sophisticatedly cheesy.
Yes, absolutely. Like, just the little humor, like, for example, him resurrecting as Jason, and then also like were you going to be when you grew up? And, just like the fact that, they used like Karloff and, Cunningham Road and, all that
Yeah,
stuff.
all the Easter
Carpenter,
eggs.
Count of Carpenter, like they use those references were even great. So like they put it in. I really enjoyed how they did that.
Yeah.
I think my favorite would be part 7, just because of nostalgia reasons. Because that was the first movie I've ever saw, so it was like one that got me into the franchise. It got me into horror. But
Yeah.
6 but in terms of like, I guess, overall quality, I think 6, 4, those two are very close to number 1 for me. I think they're really good, and I mean, you can't go wrong, especially with the first 6. The first 6 are amazing, and I'll even include 7 in that. 8, it could have been better if they had the budget for it.
Yeah.
But I understand budgetary reasons really messed things up, and I mean, they had the plan to go into New York a lot more, but they didn't do it because they didn't have the money for it, and you can't do it if you don't have the funds, unfortunately.
Yeah, but it's still fun to watch.
It is. It really is. I still enjoy it. I mean, I'll still watch it. Obviously, like I absolutely love Friday the 13th. That's one of my favorite franchises out there. It's like it's childhood for me.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So the last question I got for you is: do you have any other projects in the works that you would like to promote to the listening and viewing audience?
Oh yeah, I've got several more. I just finished a film called Zombiegeddon.
Okay.
That'll be out on Amazon sometime in the future. It's a crazy horror comedy sci-fi movie that has aliens and zombies and COVID and serial killers and all kinds of stuff, where I play the main alien. I've got a movie coming up called Watch Dogs that will start filming. There's Giggles the Clown that's going to start filming again. Okay. The Barn Part 2 was in that, so check that out. It's a sequel to the original Barn horror movie. Okay. Park Dead, The Awakening, and several more that I'm working behind the scenes. I'm doing helping with some makeup and effects things. So
nice, awesome.
And then,
good.
Of course, the Rose Blood comes out in a couple weeks.
Absolutely, and I'll definitely be checking that out. And for those that are watching this, say a year from now, if they come across this interview and you want to see what Jason is up to, you can check out his IMDb page. I'm sure that'll be updated with any other products that he has in the works and that he has coming out, future, past, and present.
Absolutely.
Awesome. Well, I thank you, Jason, for joining me.
Well, thanks for having me, man.
Yep, not a problem. You have a great rest of your day.
Thanks, you too.
Yep, bye.
Bye.